So this video is going to be an introduction to different types of attacks. We're going to start off with the DOS, DDoS, and the spoofing variations. So we ask ourselves, what are attacks? Most everyone knows what they are, but to put it into a kind of a definition, you have it where an individual or a group is going to try and access, modify, or damage your systems or your environment. Attackers are going to have a million different reasons why they do what they do. They might be trying to steal something, do something out of vengeance, break something you got, heck, they might even just be doing it for fun. And so they're going to implement, various forms of attacks to get their job done. So the first two types of attacks that we're going to be discussing are DOS and DDoS. As you can see, they stand for denial of service and distributed denial of service. So discussing DOS first, so you can get like the base premise of what it all is. It's an attack that's going to prevent users from accessing some kind of resource. These attacks range in kind of how they're executed and what they do. They can deny a user access to information, applications, systems. It'll bring down a website while communications and the systems are continuing to run. It can just totally crash a user's OS. You can also fill communication channels on a network and thereby prevent access from other users who would, actually want to get on it. So the two most common types of attacks that you're going to see for DOS are the ping of death and the buffer overflows. So with the ping of death, it's going to try and send a packet to a system, like an ICMP packet, which is Internet Control Message Protocol, that's larger than the system can handle. So you got your attacker over here, right? And he's just camping out, doing his own thing. And so we're still discussing DOS, distributed, no, not distributed, just denial of service. So typically it's going to be a single attacker and some specific, company, organization, whatever, that they're going for. So we got, say, Google over here, right? And, of course, it would take a lot to knock down Google, but just so you get an idea, what the ping of death is going to do is, say the system could handle a packet maybe just about that big in size. The attacker is going to be like, alright, I'll send you one this big. And so, system can't handle that. It's way outside its capabilities, and suddenly all of Google is just going to go haywire. So that's going to be the ping of death. So with the buffer overflow, what's going to happen is, as you can kind of guess by the name, the attacker is going to try and input more data than the system can handle. So you got your attacker over here again, we'll call him @ and Google. So instead of trying to send one that's like, just massively big and that can't be handled, instead, your attacker is just going to keep sending a packet, and sending a packet, and sending a packet, sending a packet, and sending a packet, in hopes that the buffer isn't going to be able to handle it. So, ping of death and buffer overflow. So you can see how those two work to bring down some kind of resource that a user would want to get into, but now they can't. So now, when we discuss DDoS, that is distributed denial of service, you can guess that there's going to be a lot more, plenty more numbers backing up whatever kind of attack it is. And so these attacks, DDoS, they're going to exploit, typically you'll see a DSL and cable networks, they'll be pretty easy to get into. And you'll see, if you remember the botnet at all, the kind of master zombie architecture. So the master is up top, and he's got a bunch of different infected systems called zombies, and they'll be lying in wait for the master to say, alright, let's send out an attack to our buddy victim over here. And so, once you get increase numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, add another 5. You can imagine how this exponentially just increases the damage done when they all start sending out, their packets, their buffer overflows, and suddenly, our victim, whoever it is, Google, whoever it may be, they're going to get shut out quick. And so DDoS is something you'll see a lot on the internet, if it can be orchestrated. And that's how that one works. So spoofing is an attack where something is designed to look like something it's not. Whether you have a spoof from an attacker that's a program made to look like another program, maybe some fake server logon session, maybe a website designed to look like another website entirely. Spoofing is made to fool whatever user runs into it. This can typically you'll see this used to steal some login information. Years back, Unix systems kind of ran into this problem where a dude made a logon program that basically stole user login information and wrote it to a disk. So to show you an example of this, let's make ourselves a company computer network. We're gonna have our nice little. Oh wait, let me get the pen up and running. We're gonna have ourselves a nice server over here. This will be our company server, and we'll have the user over here. And now what your spoof is going to do is, say your user's trying to log on, got to get through the get through the network servers and all that. So it's going to send out a logon request. Your attacker is going to get in the way and spoof the actual logon. And so you're going to be prompted with all the same username and password stuff that's going to look exactly like what you got going on over here. Well, instead, you put your stuff in here, say my name is Billy Bob Joe, my password is 1234. The spoof, no matter what you put in, is going to say, invalid login attempt, and it's going to shoot you back. And then it's going to drop itself off, pull itself away from the actual, intervention it's got going here, and now it's got your login information. So you're going to get there, say, okay, that was weird. Then you're going to try and log in again. This time you're going to hit the real server, and then you'll log in successfully. And all the while, the spoof has your info. So guys, that is DOS, DDoS, and spoofing. Hope it helped.